If you asked him what he was, he would say he was a father. Now, it's true he could have said other things. He could have said that he was a landowner because he was. He had a good piece of land. It had been his father's. It had been his father's father's, his father's father's father's. It had been passed down through the family for some time, and it rested on his shoulders now, and he made a good living out of it. He might have said that he was an employer. He had many servants who looked to him and called him master and were there to do his bidding and work for him and make that farm successful. He could have said that he was a farmer because in addition to owning the land, he worked the land and he looked at that land as providing for his family and the generations that were yet to come. He could have said that. He could have said he was a husband, and many men would have probably jumped immediately to that definition because they have to go home and face their wives. But it's not what he said. He had a wife, and she was busy doing the things that she was supposed to do, and he was busy doing the things he was supposed to do, and he valued that relationship. But it's not what he would say. He could have said he was the patriarch of the family. The whole weight of that family name rested on him. He ruled the family. He inherited its position in the community as well as the land on which he stood, and his job was to preserve it, to make it be a family that was respected and honored in the community so that when his sons grew and took over the family for themselves, they would have something to really be proud of and to treasure. He could have said he was the patriarch, but that's not what he would have said. If you would have asked him, he would have grinned from ear to ear, and he would have said, I'm a papa. I have boys, and they are amazing. And that was his identity. For him, all the other things were just things he did, but he had such joy. He had found such meaning in his life by being a papa. And a papa is an intimate relationship. It's not just the guy who hands out responsibilities, chores, and punishments, the one you have to answer to and say, yes, sir. A papa is someone who tells you stories and bounces you on your knee and listens to your dreams and looks at you and sees all possibilities in you. He was a papa, and he had 2 fine sons. And he looked at them and must have thought, as so many parents do, that that's his future, are these boys. They're going to grow up and take wives and have families of their own and work the land and provide for he and his wife in their old age and provide for the future generations. The family would go on through these sons, and he loved them so. And then one day, his youngest comes up to him, and he looks in the face of his boy, and he sees a little bit of himself around the eyes and a little bit of his wife around the mouth, but mostly he's his own boy. And he looks at him with that love, and he hears words that hurt, because the son says to him, I would like to have my inheritance now, because this life, this land, this farm, this isn't for me. I have other dreams and other callings. There's other things I want to do. And now's the time. I'm young. I'm an adult. I can pursue these dreams. So I would like my part of the inheritance now. Now, the son is asking for a lot more than just money. The son is asking for the father to step out of a relationship with the family and the community that had been honored by time. There was a teaching. Everybody knew. The rabbis often said that there are 3 most kinds of despised and to be pitied people in the world. The first is someone who has lost all their money. The second is someone who allows another person to own them. And the third and lowest of the 3 is someone who gives away their inheritance before they are dead. So this father, who loves his son, is hearing his son say, I don't value you. In my eyes, you are worth nothing. The only value you have is those material possessions that I can turn into cold, hard cash. I care nothing for family name. I care nothing for your standing in the community. I care nothing for my relationship to your standing in the community. I don't care. You don't matter to me. Now, can you imagine how that father must have felt? To have his son, his future, not just turn his back on him and walk away, but to treat him so poorly. He had choices. He could have said, no, absolutely not. You will stay here and work the farm with your brother, and I expect you to behave in a certain way. He was the patriarch. He could have laid down the law, but he didn't. Instead, he took all of his belongings, all of his possessions, and divided them in half and gave half to the youngest son and half to the oldest. He essentially made himself completely destitute and dependent upon the generosity and kindness of his sons. He still was the patriarch. He still was the head of the family, but he had no more possessions of his own. And the youngest son, well, you know the story. He takes it all. He sells it and he takes off. He could not wait to scrape the dust off his shoes and hit the road and be gone. He didn't think for a moment about how much it hurt his father, and he didn't think for a moment about the impact that made on the community. People are dependent upon each other when they are in community. They turn to their neighbors for help when there is a death. They turn to their neighbors for help when they're having a baby. They turn to their neighbors for help with harvest. They turn to their neighbors for everything, and they dream of times when their children will marry the children of people in the family and the ties will become even closer. They are about relationships. They don't keep their land deeds in some clerk's office at the city center. It's done out of relationship, out of the family name and how families work together. And everyone in that community knew what that son had done to the papa. And they were embarrassed for him. They were really in that awkward place of passing him at market day and thinking, should I let him know how bad I feel? But I don't want to have him feel like he's being pitied because he has pride. But I would be devastated if my child behaved so horribly and spit on me like that.